Hello, it's time for live stream. Welcome everyone. If you've made it here, if you're going to catch the replay later, whichever is fine. I just want to welcome everyone. This is one of my most favorite things to teach. The topic tonight, it is Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. And today I'm teaching about give your anxiety to God. But how? We're going to learn how we can declutter your mind in just minutes and truly give our anxieties to God. Welcome again. I'm so glad you're here. Whether you're joining me live or watching the replay or listening to this someplace else, whether you're joining me live or watching the replay, my name is Sherry Peavy. Online, I go by Sherry Elaine. And today's topic is one that hits close to home for so many of us. It's how do we declutter our mind of anxious and self-defeating thoughts? And can we really do that in just minutes a day? And how do we give those anxieties to God? So if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're anxious, you're caught in those thought spirals of negative thinking, you are not alone. Oh, the world feels so heavy these days, right? The world right now seems to just be screaming. And sometimes our personal thoughts are just as loud as the headlines. So today, I want to share some practical tools and a biblical process that has helped me and that has helped many of the women I work with. It's also evidence-based. It comes out of the research of positive psychology. The research evidence-based psychology shows us what is working, what's evidence-based, and it never surprises me that the research that points to what works typically always points to an example that was already given to us in God's word. How about that? Let's dive in. First of all, why is this so hard to begin with, to just give our anxieties over to God? We all want to do it, right? We want to give our worries to God. We want to stop overthinking. We want to stop catastrophizing, and we want to stop downing ourselves. But the thoughts don't just stop because we tell them to stop. In fact, sometimes trying to make them stop only makes them stronger and loop harder, or maybe they go down for a while, but then they come back in a panic. Well, here's why. Our whole lives, our brains are picking up on patterns, and they've learned patterns of thought. And we are wired to, some of us are especially wired to be on the lookout for terrible things. It's to protect ourselves, right? And we've rehearsed anxious thoughts or self-defeating thoughts for years, whether we're aware of it or not. And as we're doing this, our brains actually create pathways. And it's like they get stronger the more we rehearse the thoughts, and they get deeper, and it's like grooves. Think of kind of like a vinyl record, the grooves that are in those records, if you've seen one lately, and then something happens in life and the needle drops right into that same old groove, right into that same old song, and here we go again. We're in that same pattern. But here is where it gets interesting, and here is where there's some hope. Just like the brain learned these patterns to begin with, it can unlearn them. It can learn to dump these patterns, and it can relearn new ways of thinking and responding. Okay, it's pretty simple. It's the basis of all learning, really. For those of us that had to memorize multiplication tables back in third grade or whenever it was, We rehearsed, we practiced the thought that 2 times 3 equals 6. So now when I say 2 times 3, hopefully the majority of you automatically think 6. When I say 7 times 3, hopefully most of us automatically think 21. Those are thoughts that we rehearsed so that when one thing when the two are shown together, we think the third. Okay, our anxious thoughts are often the same way. This stimulus happened, this thing happened in the environment, that thought flickered. Okay, so we can rehearse and learn new ones. I'm going to get to that in just a minute. But the first thing that we have to do is empty our minds, declutter our minds. Okay, now this is not some some wooey practice. We are purposefully dumping our thoughts in order to fill up with God's positive and true thoughts. Okay, so it's called thought dumping. All right, and it's exactly what it sounds like. And there's a biblical example of it. King David in the Psalms, the whole Psalms, filled with thought dumping and refilling. But it's exactly what it sounds like. You get out a piece of paper, or you open up a blank document on your laptop, or I even will use my phone and use the notes and the dictation, the microphone, and I'll just get all the thoughts out. I do that a lot because it's the fastest way. It's password protected on my phone, so no one can see these thoughts that are spilling out. They're kept private when they're on my phone like that. So, but what you do is you set a timer for at least 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes if you've got a lot to get out. And then you write down or you speak out and record every thought that's coming in related to your anxiousness or your irritability, or this particular talk is on anxiety thoughts, but it could be any negative thoughts. But we're focusing on anxiety tonight. Don't worry about the spelling. Don't worry about the handwriting. Don't even judge about what comes out. Don't think, oh, I better not let that one out. Let it all out. Okay, and it might start with, I'm really stressed. Then you might be surprised. I'm really stressed. There's too much to do and not enough time to do it. I don't have the resources. I don't have enough money. Nobody is here to help me. Nobody ever helps me. I do everything around here. Nobody else cares. Nobody cares about me. Nobody loves me. I think if I were to die tomorrow, they would really miss me. But if I did die tomorrow, they probably wouldn't care because they think here in this house that I'm just a nag. When really I'm the only one that cares about anything. Okay, so things start coming out. Things start coming out, like that. I don't even know if my husband loves me anymore. Stuff starts coming out, and even you might be going, oh, wow. No wonder I'm stressed. But don't judge it. Don't judge it. Let it come out, because once it is out on the paper or on your digital notes, it's out of your head. And now you're no longer storing them there, at least for this time. You can look at them and you are observing them from the outside, looking in. Okay, this is a strategy that is commonly used in what's called ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy. You observe and reflect on your own thinking. Okay, then the next thing that you do, now that we've got the thoughts out, we want to rewire, reframe. And in popular speak now, it's become rewiring, but it's reframing. Has been the word that has been used by counselors and psychologists going way, way back. Well, a few decades. And this process is deeply biblical. I mentioned David before, and he starts in the Psalms of lament, the Psalms of complaining, Why is my soul so downcast? Why are my enemies winning? Why is God allowing this to happen? Why am I running for my life? Is anything worth it? I am so much in anguish. Everything is terrible. Da 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 da. Boom. He gets it all out. And then about quarters of a way through the psalm, boom, he switches and he'll start saying, but I know I can trust in God. I know I can hope in God. He is my help and my salvation. Thought dump and then refill. All right. So after the thoughts are dumped out, this is what I teach, and what I go into deeper and more individually in my cohorts, in my women's connection cohorts. So you get all those thoughts out, and then usually there's kind of one anxious thought that's the most prominent, that's bothering you the most, that you're aware of. And then sometimes there might be one thought, and there's lots of other little thoughts kind of filed under that one thought. So we kind of look at those main thoughts, the main ones. Usually there's one or two, maybe three. And we start with those. And the first question to ask is this actually true? And sometimes it is true. And so then we want to know, well, how am I going to respond for this? How am I going to show up in this situation with this being true? Okay, and we go down that path. A lot of times, especially with anxious thoughts, it's not true. Okay. So when it's not true, we want to ask, what believable truth can I hold on to instead? And we want to ask also, does God say anything about this thought? Does he have any way to speak into this? And most of the time, there is something in God's word. So I was listening to another podcast the other day, and it was so good. It was on anxiety, and handling managing anxious thinking. And I was listening to it because I was like, oh, I'm going to be talking about anxiety soon. And she said, it is time that we stop looping our anxious thoughts over and over and over without looping God into them. And isn't that beautiful? If we're going to be looping and rehearsing these anxious thoughts over and over again, what an opportunity that is to start looping God into our thought life. All right, so if my time is correct, we are making good time. Looks like it's about 7:12, 7:13. Okay, good. All right, so the next part I told you I would share with you tonight is a strategy for how do we actually release the anxiety to God and give it to Him for real. And I teach a number of different strategies. The one I'm going to focus on tonight is a visualization practice. Okay, visualization is a very powerful way to retrain your mind and to teach your mind things. Okay, there's a whole bunch of evidence on this, but I think we kind of naturally know, like we will have athletes visualize themselves pitching the ball well, running through the finish line, uh, catching the ball, precisely making the drive. Okay, visualization. If you've had a baby, you've learned the visualization techniques to help you focus and reduce the anxiety about having a baby, right? When you're in labor. And it's pretty effective if you've had to do that. But this is a visualization practice, and I usually do this most mornings. I'll do it right in with my morning routine, especially if it's on a work day and I've got a lot of things going on that I'm getting anxious or worried about. Um, um, So what I will do is I'm usually in the bathroom because this is part of my routine. And I imagine myself holding, like grasping like this, a big laundry sack full of heavy items, heavy as rocks, laundry sack. And in that laundry sack is whatever I am worried about that day and that week, my schedule. Okay, my friend that I just learned has a diagnosis and is um, going to have chemo. Okay, I just imagine it all. The stability of my job, my husband's job, how someone else is doing, other, am I going to have the resources I need to complete a project that I have due for work? All of those worries. Is something going to come up with that difficult relationship that I've been trying to navigate around? All of those worries are in this sack. And I think about what's in that sack. And then I visualize Jesus standing just about 6 to 7 feet away. And I take that sack and I toss it. I cast it, right? We cast our anxieties in. That means to toss it, to throw it. I toss it to him, and then I see him catch it. And he catches it. And he says, "Thank you." He says, "Thank you. I told you to cast these to me. I want you to give these to me. Thank you for trusting me with these." And then I have just visually released that to Jesus. And it is a wonderful relief. And here is the truth. He does tell us, cast it over to him. Give him all the worries. So if we're not doing that, if no one's taught us how to do that, we're actually disobeying. Now, I don't want to give you one more thing to worry about, but if we're not giving our worries to Jesus when he told us to, we're being disobedient by hanging on to them. And again, I don't want you to feel bad, but just think about it. Maybe that will motivate you so that you don't feel bad like you're burdening Jesus. You're not. He can handle it all. He can handle it all. And doing this is kind of a little physical visual practice that goes along with the spiritual act of surrendering. And you know what? There's actually research in neuroscience that shows that visualizing like this does strengthen the brain's ability to let go of those anxious thoughts and that negative thinking. So when we do this consistently, when this becomes a regular rhythm where we're dumping and reframing and releasing, whether we're doing that every day, I think a lot of times in the beginning, you may be doing this every day. I do it about a week now, once a week. I do it about once a week. And I have a place for it in my prayer journal. I think I have it back here. I do have a spot for it, a weekly spot in my prayer journal for, I don't dump the thoughts in here because I don't want anyone to find those thoughts, but I will do my thought dumping on a separate sheet of paper or on my phone. And then I have a place, each of the weekly pages has a spot to reflect on those thoughts and to start reframing them, and then to even look for a verse or a section of God's word that speaks into that thought. And in the cohorts that I do, the next one's starting in July, and the next one in July is a kind of a special opportunity cohort because it's going to be a little bit shorter than the one in the fall. It's not going to be any less helpful, or you're not going to get any less information than what you get in the fall. but there's going to be 3 live coaching sessions with it. And because of that, the tuition for the July cohort, which is actually starting the week of July 14th, is only going to be $37. $37. It has never been that low, and it will not be that low again, at least not for another year. So I want to invite you to look into that. There will be a link down here to the information page about the upcoming Women's Connection cohort. If you're thinking about it, if you are thinking that you want to grow closer to God, to Jesus, join that cohort. Join that cohort. Okay, there are options. I want this to be available to anyone. If the $37 is a hindrance for you, you can reach out. There's actually a payment plan already built into PayPal. I didn't even set it up. PayPal just offers it, where you can. The first payment's like $9, but reach out to me. We can do something like $5 a month. Okay, but I want to work with women who want to get closer to Jesus, especially in this crazy time when the world is screaming. You know who I'm looking for and who God is looking for? The women who have their lamps lit. Or maybe you realize your lamp's not lit and you want to light it. And I'm talking about the parable that Jesus told about the 10 women. They're actually 10 virgins. But when Jesus comes looking to see who is close to him and who loves him and who he's going to take with him at the end of the age, he is looking for those who have their lamps lit. And so he comes just like he promised. And the ones who have their lamps lit are rejoicing. But the ones who haven't kept their lamps lit and they've wasted their lamplight oil, they start to panic and they start saying, please share your oil, please share your oil. And the women with the lamps ready, they're like, we want to, but we can't take ours out now. It's too late. You've got to get your oil directly from Jesus. I want to encourage the women that God is calling right now to come closer to him. I want to help you light your lamps. I want to help you keep them lit. And I want to help you overcome through a group coaching, very affordable group coaching experience, so that you can overcome your thoughts, your lack of confidence, your insecurities, so that you can be grounded in your faith and drawn closer and closer in your walk with Jesus. And then you can fill up with his truth and his love, and you will slowly start overflowing that to others and living more intentionally and living out of that joy that he provides. So if that sounds good to you, I'm going to tell you something. People don't just decide they want to wake up and get closer to Jesus. So if you're thinking, I want to get closer to Jesus, I want to get close to Jesus, go ahead and sign up, because it's not you just thinking that most likely. We don't even want that. We don't even desire that unless the Spirit is calling us. So the link's down there. There's an opportunity for you to sign out. I will reach out to you shortly after. It may not be immediately today, but within the next couple of days, I'll send out an email to you. I'll give you an opportunity to let me know where you are, where you are with your spiritually, what it is that you hope to get out of the cohort. And it will be a very, very safe place. And it's going to be a transformative place. And I hope for many of you, it's the place that you can say, that's when I really, really seriously began walking close to God and learned how to pray, and how to wait for answers, and how to read the Bible, and how to seek God, and how to wait for him. and how to listen for him. That's what we do in the Women's Connection cohorts. Join us if that sounds like something that your heart wants. Well, I could just close out right there, but I do have some little notes here that this is my closing. Remember that Romans 12:2 says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is not just a stress management strategy. It's a soul care, spiritual rhythm. It's a practice. We are training our minds. We are transforming our minds and our hearts. Philippians 4:6 tells us, do not be anxious about anything, but present your requests to God. You know what? We don't present all of our thoughts to God because we don't even know what all the thoughts are because we're not dumping them regularly. You got to dump them out. You got to dump them out and lift them up to God. And it says, when you do that, there's a promise. The peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Yes, that's what happens. But here's the thing. We get distracted when we try to do it on our own. I don't know, there's 100 different reasons why we start off. We get our prayer journal, we buy it, and we use it for the first week or the first 2 weeks, and then something happens. Who knows what? Who knows what? It always happens, right? And we fall off. But guess what? When we're meeting together in a small connection cohort, we're not going to fall off because we're going to be encouraging each other. It takes practice. It's not a one-time fix. It's not super easy. If it is, everyone would do it, right? No one would be anxious. But it's a powerful, it's a biblical, and it's a grace-filled process. So again, if this message resonated with you and you are ready to go deeper, please, I invite you to join my next connection cohort for women. We're starting mid-July, the week of July 14th, and we're going to meet. You're going to have some material to go through, and then we're going to meet 3 times over 5 weeks. I think it starts the week of July 14th and goes through, I think, August 16th. It's about 5 weeks. Okay, and we're going to meet 3 times over that. And that's what I promise. We're going to meet at least 3 times. I often kind of drop in and we have extra meetings that if you're able to make it. Oh, and the times are going to be on Saturday mornings. I'm specifically choosing Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. It would be good if you could make at least one of those in person. But if you can't make one, it will be recorded, and only the people in the group will get those recordings. Again, $37. Reach out to me if that's a hindrance for any reason. I know we're all in different situations. And this is going to be the perfect space. If generally, you're functioning pretty well, but you're stuck in a particular pattern, you're stuck in a particular relationship dynamic, you can bring in questions of all kinds into these cohorts, questions of all kinds. And it's just a space where you can untangle your thoughts and get your thought questions answered about what it means to really walk with God and grow closer to Him. Again, the link's in the description of this video. So thank you for being here with me today. If this was helpful, tell a friend. I'm going to be running these each Wednesday evening for a while. So tell a friend to just send me an email. If you got this, you're probably on my email list because I only send these unlisted links out to you if you're on my email list. So you have my email, sherrypv@gmail.com. Just send me a list. Or info@sherryelaine.com, either one that you've received something from. Just send me an email and say, please add my friend to your list. Now make sure you've got the permission for your friend for me to email them the information. Okay? Because that's important. with the way the internet works these days and these email things, if I email someone and they mark it as spam, you're gonna cause problems for this in the ministry. So um, refer a friend. Come and do the cohort together. That would be awesome. And just remember that you're not alone in this. God sees your anxious heart. He offers you peace. It's more than just eternity and going to heaven, at the end of this age or at the end of our life. It starts today. It starts today. So keep resetting your mind, keep bringing your thoughts to Him. And I hope to see you really soon. Bye for now.